Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Big Blend Radio. You know, Nancy and I love to travel the country. We do it full time. And a big project of ours is to travel the Jefferson Highway. The Jefferson Highway is a very historic highway that connects Canada to America. It's actually the very first North American highway, and it was started in 1915. It goes from Winnipeg, Canada, down to New Orleans. It's awesome. Like, if you want a road trip this summer, this is the place to do it. Nancy and I we've done parts of it on our Love Your Parks tour, but we didn't really know about the Jefferson Highway until our friend Arlene Gould over in Natchitoches, Louisiana said, "Girls, you got to get on the highway." And so we did. And we did a little bit in Iowa this year. And we're very excited because now we're doing this podcast for over a year. I think it is, Roger, over a year now.
Yes.
Did you say that was over a year? Really?
March of 2022 is when we started.
So, so we actually did do part of the highway for the anniversary then, right? And it was Iowa that we went to and did parts of it. And Iowa has amazing signage for the highway. This is an incredible route. If you're going to road trip this year, highly recommend it. There's a conference coming up for the Jefferson Highway, and this is all through the Jefferson Highway Association. So I encourage you to go to the website, jeffersonhighway.org. And we do this every fourth Thursday. We talk about destinations. We talk about historic outlaw women. We talk about music. We talk about all kinds of things that have happened on the highway and are about to happen on the highway. So you can keep up with us at bigblendradio.com on that, but go to jeffersonhighway.org. Roger Bell is here as always. Roger is the president of the Jefferson Highway. Before we bring our guests on from Iowa, and we're going to talk about this amazing caravan that's going to be part of the upcoming conference, Roger, can you tell everyone just like a brief overview of this highway, how important it is, and why it's such an important vacation route, road trip route, for especially this year with people getting back into road tripping?
It is an Americana highway. It was started by grassroots, by communities, by pioneers that just wanted to create roads for a new fangled thing called automobiles. When they first were starting to be more widespread and be developed, people started to be able to afford them. They wanted to get on these vehicles. They wanted to travel the country, and roads were poor. So the Jefferson Highway was the first international highway north to south across America, and one of the first highways from across America in the United States history. So it's largely forgotten for many years. A lot of people do not, say, I never heard of that or whatever, but that's because of the changing in the numbering system in the late 1920s, and it's just kind of been dormant, but now we're reinvigorating it, restoring it, and making it a tourist portal across our nation, and it continues to grow.
Well, Nancy and I were just there on our way from Wisconsin to Texas, and Texas is part of the highway too. But we did most of we didn't realize that. We thought, let's do part of the highway, but then we stopped at everything and like an entire day. We didn't go very far. Like, honestly, that, Roger, because we kept texting you and Arlene, look where we are now, look where we are now. And I still need to post photos of it all. But you have this incredible map on your website that really works with your phone for GPS coordinates. I mean, it was amazing. We saw, what is it, an eight-sided barn that we found. So it's like this, when I always said this on the show, it's a treasure hunt. But when we were doing it, we were talking about this on a different show the other day. You have old bridges and old road stops that you wouldn't know that was an old bridge if it didn't have the Jefferson Highway logo painted on it. You would just think it's a piece of cement. You wouldn't even know that what happened in history was. Oh, is that in Missouri at that point?
That was in northern Missouri, yeah.
We went everywhere though, right? So we did Iowa and then we did get into Missouri. Yes. You're right. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean about the fact that it's getting signage and
yes,
you're starting to see things that we would have bypassed so much if we didn't know about the Jefferson Highway on that day.
It's growing just immensely, and just the conference is the attendance in our conference is already at an all-time high in registrations, and I expect a few more to come in, and it is going to be a really special time in Mason City. But what we're talking today is about this idea that came up to me around Christmas time when a friend of mine who we had on the show earlier from Kentucky, Bill Johnson, and his wife Jane, made this thought of they were going to come back and tour. They were going to come in all the way from Louisiana and go back along the route using the Kansas routing instead of the Missouri routing this time, and wanted to bring their 1954 convertible. And I said, well, that'd be fun. Maybe we can just go along with you. Then I started thinking, well, maybe we just make this a fun pre-caravan event, and it's just began to grow and grow. And we're looking for 3 days in Iowa before our conference to have our first ever sociability caravan since the days of old, when sociability caravans were a primary way of promoting the route back in the teens and 20s. And we're the sociability caravans were done where the premier of Manitoba or the governor of Louisiana or the mayor of Louisiana would drive across the country together in caravans, stop and give speeches and shake hands with dignitaries, of course, travel and see the route. And there was also regional and local sociability runs to promote the areas all the way up into the late 1920s. And we're bringing that back. And, I think it'll be really fun to do this. And we're going to have some fun activities along the way for our folks to make it even more fun. And can't wait for it to start, really, to be honest with you.
I love this. And everyone, again, jeffersonhighway.org is a website with all the details. And also, when you go there, you'll see that the dates for the conference, and everyone's welcome, again, Mason City, Iowa is the place of the conference, but it's held June 7th through 10th, 2023, in case you're listening a year later, which can happen. Because things do fly by fast. But I want to bring our guests on because they're all in Iowa, and Iowa is just such a beautiful state. We've got Diana Teese joining us. She's the executive director of Iowa Falls Chamber Main Street. And I encourage you to go to their website, iowafallschamber.com. Diana, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, Diana, I've got to bring on Ashley Eccles also. She's the executive director of Osceola Chamber Main Street, and you can go to theosceolachamber.com. Welcome, Ashley. How are you?
Thanks, Lisa. I'm good. Thank you.
I just want to say I brought you both on together specifically because this is something different. Nancy and I travel the country, and we, work with a lot of chambers and visitor bureaus across the country and destinations. And this is interesting to me that it's not just a chamber, it's Chamber Main Street. And I think this is really exciting. And I had to go on your websites to make sure, and I wanted to go see anyway, because I want to know about you guys, like your area, but like to see Main Street written next to it. This is actually the first I've seen this. And like I said, we really, really travel and we really go to a lot of places. And it's exciting to hear Main Street be attached, because I think it's something that we all innerly crave, and to get back to that kind of sensibility of going downtown and actually having thriving main streets. And, we're in a shift in the world. So I want to start with you, Diana. Can you tell me a little bit about why it's Chamber and Main Street? Is this a new thing is this only Iowa? What's going on? Because it's neat. I think it's cool.
I'm not sure it's just in Iowa, but a lot of our smaller communities can't afford the businesses, at least in Iowa Falls. They can't afford to support the Chamber of Commerce and our Main Street program, because the Main Street program is a national program. And there's 53 or maybe there's 55, Ashley, you'd have to say. Anyway, so we combined our two organizations into one. So we're Iowa Falls Chamber Main Street. And so we service everybody, all the businesses, and we also service our Main Street communities.
That's fantastic. Ashley, is that the same thing for you too?
Yep. We were two entities and then merged in, I want to say 2007, but yeah, the same issues. And there is some overlap. It makes sense to just combine them.
I think that's fantastic because, you know, just from our drive through, it seems like a lot of the communities are smaller, historic, and to even just have the word Main Street, and the Main Street program is amazing. And I think that ties in, Roger, don't you think, for, you know, the Jefferson Highway? I mean, the signage program, you think you're just still on there until they have the sign saying, no, you're going to skirt around this street to this street. You know what I mean? But it does take you
in these
through
communities, specifically, you know, and I've been a part of a Main Street organization as a board member. These two communities, they just speak at their main streets, or downtowns, or, you know, they have the vibe of wonderful Americana Main Street. So they are, you know, that's why they're important stops on our caravan. Ashley and Osceola, some of it's just the timing of when we, you know, have to go from one place to another, but Osceola is hosting us for our lunch on the first day of our tour on Monday, June 5th. And then Iowa Falls will be hosting us for our overnight and activities associated with that on Tuesday the 6th. And there's things all along the drive for our participants. And these two communities, I've really enjoyed getting to know more in my conversations with them over the last couple of months.
I'm excited because we get to go to Iowa too soon, and we're definitely going to come see you. And I want to bring our next two guests on. We've got Jim Hamman. He is the Iowa Falls historian. He's got the badge. He's got the badge of history. He's going to tell us about the past. But welcome, Jim. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And we're just very excited about having the sociability tour come through here. Personally, I discovered Iowa about 45 years ago when I made a trip out here, and it made such an impression on me that I retired here about 12 years ago into Iowa Falls, and I haven't regretted a minute of it. It's a wonderful place to be, and also all of these little communities have a unique character, and if you take a little bit of time to discover them, history really comes to life, and it is a wonderful vacation way to be a part of Americana.
I think you're really right about that, and I'm glad that you found it so, you know, appealing to you to retire there. So then you understand that.
So Jim has signed up to be one of our participants in the caravan. So looking forward to. He's going to, unless his plans have changed, he's going to join us in Lamoni on our start and drive the whole way. So, and be at our conference.
I keep saying it Lamoni. It's not Lamoni. It's Lamoni.
And also be at our conference in Mason City. So.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I want to bring our next guest on, Yvonne Sally. Her and her husband have taken on this massive project of renovating what is formerly known as the Arlington Howe Hotel, which was built in 1884. It is now the Hotel Osceola, and this is very exciting. You can find them on Facebook and also read an article if you go to clarkcountylife.com. That's Clark with an E on the end, Clark County Life. So welcome to the show, Yvonne. How are you?
Good. Doing good. Thank you for inviting me.
So I want to know this hotel of yours, because this is something that we saw driving through, and it's true, in Missouri and Iowa, where Nancy and I were, these downtowns, when we talk about historic buildings, I mean, it's incredible. And we saw a lot of brick and brick buildings. We're from the Southwest. Like, really, you don't get that. You don't. You got adobe, and you want to blend in with the sand if you're in the desert, that kind of thing. But just the architecture of these downtowns is. I think this is something so important about the Main Street part of the chambers and these communities, and what Jefferson Highway is doing is showing off these areas, but it's part of preserving architecture. Is that part of why you decided to get this? But I mean, that's a like, you're a little crazy, right? I mean that in a nice way.
No. Even my husband said, "Hey, before we closed on purchasing this hotel, he asked me the night before if I wanted to watch the movie Money Pit."
Right, because
and I'm like, no, I already watched that movie like 15 times. I love that movie. So apparently I am a little bit crazy, but yes, it is. We definitely targeted when we were looking for a place to invest in. Americana was definitely a key vision of ours in restoring Americana. It was very important and very true to my heart. But another thing that we targeted was also buildings that were over 100 years old. So we wanted to restore historic buildings and stuff like that. We restored houses, and we were wanting to jump into the restoration of buildings. And so size was important because we couldn't get something that was too big, but we didn't want to get something that was too small either. And but definitely it has a lot of architecture inside it. It has a lot of architecture outside of it, and we want to restore it, where we will be touching every square inch of that building, every square inch. There's not going to be one piece of trim, wall, anything that we won't be touching because it needs that much of a rehab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Were you going to be saving parts of it, like, so that it's like
Yes.
I mean, how's that balance happening for you guys? I mean, it's true when you say like you're going to do something small, then if you're going to go into the money pit, you might as well go in, go big or go home, right?
We're committed to go into the money pit, and we knew that before we signed that piece of paper. But there is a balance. And so part of it is the balance is if it's original, it's staying. If it's it's 130 years old or almost 130 years old. So there have been quite a bit of renovation that has happened in the last 130 years. And we are working with a historical preservation architect as well to help us with, the right types of how do we preserve this thing? How do we make it come back to life? And what should we change or not change? So there could be certain things in there that I'm like, for example, I have a cast iron pipe that was deteriorating, and I wanted to keep it, but I wanted to make sure through my architect that says, is this something we need to keep or not keep? So we do that balance with each other to make sure that we're making sure that we preserve that. If it's something that we can keep, then we will. Of course, it's going to have its modern amenities, the electrical, the plumbing, where we are converting it. It was converted to apartments at one time, and we're converting it back to a hotel. So it's going to have the luxurious boutique feel. And it was originally 50 rooms, but those rooms were tiny. So now when we're done with it, we're looking about 18 keys because they're going to be a lot bigger for, that meets today's, culture. But the other thing, what's going to be kind of cool in there is originally when it was 50 keys, you had 50 doors, right?
Right.
And today, those doors, if you were walking down the hallway, those doors have been boarded up with sheetrock. What we're going to do is we're going to restore all of those doorways and the framing for all the doors. So when you walk down of it, you're going to have that look and feel that you're in the old hotel with the 50 doors, but only 18 of them is going to work.
Oh, that's sweet. Nice.
Do you understand? But that's kind of the balance talking about. I'm trying to illustrate some of those
Yeah,
things.
no,
So,
it's this is a
vision was-
huge. This is huge. We do a show with the Palm Springs Preferred Small Hotel Group every month, and they have over 70 hotels in Palm Springs. I think it's almost 80 actually. And majority of the hotels were apartment complexes from when back in the day, Rat Pack days, where people would actually go to Palm Springs and they had apartment styles, mostly in the fall and winter, because back then they didn't even have air conditioning, right, in the desert. And that's what they are all doing as well, is that refurbishing thing. But there's something really special. I mean, they're not necessarily 100 years old, like 130 like yours, but it's that same thing of when something has become an apartment, it becomes this, you're able to have this luxury, but then have this feel. And I think that goes with main streets as well. And being in a downtown, it's cool.
Lisa, this is, if you know, we've talked about this before. We're bringing in a historic lodging group association now. We have just signed up 5 or 6 members in Louisiana recently. And we're trying to create a Jefferson Highway link where people can just travel this from day to day and stay in historic lodging. That's our goal. And what we discovered is it's so possible. And almost all of my trips on Jefferson Highway, I stay on historic lodging, and did in my last trip in 2017, the whole route. So it is exciting to see this new development, and I can't wait to see the progress as we go into the caravan. And
you're going to go there? Are you going to stop at the hotel? We're
go
see the building?
Definitely see what's going on there, because we'll be right there on the square. Near
She's going to show you copper pipes. Yvonne's going to come running out.
We hope
cast
she
iron,
will.
not copper. If you have copper pipes, you better hide them.
Yeah,
cast iron is cool.
I take all those out to help me with the renovation costs.
There you go.
I know, right? She's like, I've got over 50, one per room. But I want to go over to Ashley. I want to give everybody a sense of each of these destinations that are going to be part of this caravan. And Ashley, can you give us an overview of Osceola so when people know that what they can expect? I feel like I need to go to a soda fountain or something now. Like I feel all like inspired to be Main Street. I feel like I have to change my clothes now too. I just feel like I need to be transported back. And that's the cool thing about this. But yeah, Ashley, can you give us a little overview?
Absolutely. So Osceola, we're a little about population 5,300, and you'll come in. Jefferson Highway runs right through our main street. It is our main street, and we are a square downtown. And so Yvonne, the old hotel, will be on the other side of Main Street. But we have multiple restaurants, shopping, dining, all sorts of things to do for people when they come through on Monday.
Oh, that's exciting. Can you say the name of the town again? Because apparently I really messed up again.
Everyone pronounces it there. Osceola.
Okay, Osceola.
But I think the way you pronounce it, people do that all the time too.
Okay. So restaurants, are there parks nearby? Things like that, nature?
Yep, we have multiple parks. We have county parks and then city parks that you could stop in. Cool. We have a new distillery as well. It's not downtown, but it's on.
See, I knew we were going to get somewhere here. I wanted to get to the nitty gritty. That's the important thing. I like that.
Now, am I wrong? Is there a ice cream place going in this facility, this hotel?
Yeah, and Yvonne?
I knew it.
Going back to the vision of mixing the old with the new, we are wanting to also have, where our older generations, I guess our grandparents and our children, to be able to go someplace and share with each other. So we're doing hard pack ice cream and rolled ice cream, which is the old and the new. Yes. And that's what we're serving. We're hoping to be able to open up on Memorial Day weekend.
No way. So you'll be in time for the conference and the social. Okay. So I was right about going to a soda fountain then. I had that feeling from talking to you both. I'm like, I want to be that.
Soda fountain because we're not, they're little.
No, but ice cream is close.
But you will have ice cream and we can sell you soda.
Yeah. And you can make your own root beer float then, right? So that's okay. That's classic. But that's the thing. I mean, when we went on this route, like it just felt like you could go somewhere and get like Coca-Cola in a glass bottle. Like you can do that in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And got to thank them for sponsoring the show, natchitoches.com, by the way. And they just got a sign, talking about a caravan. They just got a new sign up for where the camp was. So, Roger, am I right in this? So there's the historic hotels, but people used to drive together and go to like camping.
Well, including both of these communities had tourist camps. Both Iowa Falls and Osceola had them. My hometown, Muskogee, had them. It was everybody wanted to do that because a lot of people couldn't afford to stay in hotels at that time, but they were discovering these highways and going out, and auto camping in the 1920s became a huge craze. And almost every community, certainly anyone that had a highway, wanted to have the best camp because why? They would get people to stop in their town, spend a few days there, spend their money, and just like tourism is today. It's kind of before that, most tourism was done through railroads, and this was changing. So these tourist camps were big, and I collect photographs of tourist camps. It's one of my many hobbies, and one of them is I have pictures of both of their tourist camps.
No way.
And it's I believe the one in Osceola was really close to where the water tower is.
Correct. I believe it's right by our post office.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, then you can send a postcard, which is something we don't see anymore. Like
Exactly.
that's it. Have a Coca-Cola in a glass. Go get rolled ice cream. You're rolling the ice cream, and then send a postcard.
I can't wait to visit this. I'm already looking forward to it. At least.
I know. I want to go back to Diana and Jim and go to Iowa Falls. So I did see signs for Iowa Falls. I want to know, do you have a waterfall, Diana?
We have a man-made one, and
cool.
But they'll be coming into town and then stop at the hotel and then come down to an historic Carnegie building, and there'll be a reception here with touring of the historical museums. We have 2 of them and an international art collection. There'll be historic cars that people can go out.
Oh, wow.
And then they can take off downtown and eat at a soda fountain, the Princess Cafe,
which is historic to the route.
Okay.
It's on the National Register, and it's got marble and what kind of wood?
It's mahogany, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's rare.
Other places to eat, but that is, if you're talking soda fountain, that is one place. And when we have a swinging bridge that connects and I think is that what you're talking about, Roger, is Assembly Park in the downtown, that swinging bridge?
Yes.
Too?
That's probably more of a question for Jim as for the tourist camp was.
The tourist camp actually will go right by when we leave in the morning and go out Rocksylvania Avenue.
Okay.
It now is the site of our public swimming pool and park, but it had places evidently in 1920 or 22 for 500 campers.
What?
500? It was one of the largest camps.
Are you kidding?
Iowa.
So they wanted to put a pool in. They said, "Hey, if we're going to park in camp."
The pool came after the camp went away. I am told that there are still some foundations of the outbuildings and so forth for the camp if you go through the park, which is sort of a ravine and overgrown and goes down into the river. And so Iowa Falls did have a natural waterfall and it was dammed up, and there was a mill there. And now we actually have a hydroelectric plant, a small one that is historic, that's operational from 1925. And that also has water running over it. And that dams up the river so that we're able to use our summer tourist boat, which holds what, 50 people?
Yes.
Yeah, that is awesome.
It goes up
wow.
and down the river because there are limestone bluffs along the river near Iowa Falls and through Iowa Falls, which is one of the reasons we call it the Scenic City.
And that's what I was going to get at. Jim, can you give me an idea? I'm curious myself of how it got the name Scenic City. Was that a tourist promotion back in the day, or that just because even back way in the days, early days of Jefferson Highway, it was called the Scenic City?
I've always thought Diana invented it.
Oh, maybe so.
It's always been
girl.
called the Scenic City, so I don't know whether they thought the river and the bluffs, was scenic and beautiful along there. And so there's things for people to do even the next morning before you head out, before the mayor gives the proclamation and sends you off. And they can shop downtown. There's lots of shopping, and there's a coffee shop. And so there'll be things for them to do.
One thing we didn't
okay, go ahead.
talk
Go
about.
ahead.
I'm sorry. One thing we didn't talk about too is we're going to do kind of a passport program for our people. So these several communities are participating in this, where they'll stamp our guidebook as we go along, basically as a souvenir. So people that complete the whole journey will have a complete stamping, and both of these communities are participating in that. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a lot of fun.
That's only for the caravan people?
That's for the caravan people, yeah. We may have to continue it on down the line. I mean, that's a goal, but
I'm like,
we'll be the first ones. So
eventually I would like to see, because our Love Your Parks tour started with the national parks, right? And then quickly we realized move. There's other parks. Every park matters, and we cover everything to a tiny. I think the smallest park we did, oh my gosh, was in Louisiana near Orleans and in Natchitoches, and it is a sliver of grass, a shell, like a little gazebo thing, and a bench, and like one of those lending libraries, because all of it matters, right? For beautifying a town, for quality of life, and for travelers, all of it matters. And eventually you start to see these routes, like the historic routes and trails, become part of the National Park Service, and they all have their own passport book. And honestly, it's out of control, like passport books and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I have a bag of them, and it's important. We want our stamp. And during COVID, it really sucked because we had a hard time getting our books stamped because we'd be in places that were closed. But my thing is, my goal for the highway, my personal goal is that it becomes part of the national park system, where it's a national historic route, just like Route 66. Finally, it took a long time.
Lincoln
it's going to take. I know, I want this, and then I want the stamp for everything, because, even like I said, that little tiny portion of Iowa that we went through, Nancy and I were there. Like we spent a day. Like we were like a little crazy kids, because you can't just go through the town and say you went there.
There's discoveries at every one of these towns, and it's they've all got interesting stories to tell, every one of them. And these the two we have on are just a sample of that, but they're great. Both these communities, you could spend a whole day or afternoon shopping, eating, exploring the town. There's still remnants and elements of the Jefferson Highway if you look closely. Iowa Falls still has the original band shell downtown.
You got a band shell? That is precious.
And they have a nearby that, I guess it's still there. They have this very old popcorn stand. Is that still there?
It's still there, and it's still operational. They have it open on Wednesday nights and during the summer, and the band show where we'll meet the morning of to send everybody off.
It's just great. I mean, it's
just, my gosh.
And when you're in Osceola, you've got, there's a couple of old roadside motels that the remnants of them. But, this restoration of the hotel, this is where originally Jefferson Highway travelers would stay in the same hotel. So it's just really going to be a really great thing to very excited about that in Iowa. And, part of this whole tour is for our group. They're going to have a great time traveling it together. We're going to have a blast, but it's also to bring more interest, more knowledge to Iowans about this route, and also people across America. And as you know, Lisa, and I know when this show goes to the broadcast, it will be a few days. But we're going to be hosting a special Zoom informational meeting, and we'll have that probably online. And if you don't get to do it, we may do another one in May, just to give people a little bit of information about what it's going to be like to be on this caravan.
Well, I think this is cool because it seems like this is like old school road tripping, but I mean, motorcycle people do it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's it's an old school thing. And sociability is so funny because I was typing it in and I realized that it's sociability. There's no L before the B, right?
Yeah.
So there was like I've never heard of this, like a caravan, we lived in England, a caravan is an RV. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on, with this, but it's interesting. So when people join this, Roger, just to be clear, you are going to go through this portion of Iowa, right? And you've got hotels. So it's like a gathering of road trippers.
We're going to start in Lamoni, which is the furthest south community on the route. And we have things like an ice cream social set up to do when we get into town. They're going to send us off the next morning. And then we're going to be making our way up through several communities until we, on that same day, make it to Osceola, and as we talked about, for lunch. And we're looking forward to that. We'll be going up to Indianola. We'll be going into Des Moines. We're patterning this a little bit after the old caravans of old. The one I'm really looking at is the 1919 one, right after World War I, which was a major sociability run, and it went through Iowa. And when they went through Iowa, they stayed in Des Moines. They got to tour the state capitol, so we're going to tour the state capitol, take a tour of it, which is an amazing state capitol.
That's huge.
And then we're going to our lodging for the night is going to be this deluxe hotel in Des Moines, which was the site of the 1919 banquet for the Jefferson Highway Association run. So we're going to be in the same location. The next morning, we're going to get up and we're going to have a Model A group meet us, and we're going to tour with us as we drive up into central Iowa through a very farming rural area. And we'll be making it up to Nevada, Iowa. Then we'll be we have things there that we're going to be doing. There's a Lincoln Jefferson Park there that is the crossing of the two highways there, in the Lincoln, the Jefferson Highway. We'll be going through Colo, which was the famous Reed Island corner, which actually has a large concrete marker of the Jefferson Highway that is on the property, and it's has a restaurant there. But and then we can't wait to get up to Iowa Falls that evening, and we know that's going to be. You can already see they've got it really organized for us. We're excited about that. And then the next morning, we're going to make a shorter route up from Iowa Falls. We're going to go through the community of Clear Lake, Iowa, which was not technically on the route, but I've always considered it one community on the route because it was every guidebook, even the earliest, always had stuff about that community. And of course, that's where the Surf Ballroom, where Buddy Holly and Big Bopper and Richie Valens' last concert was, the day the music died. And we're going to be taking a tour of the Surf Ballroom before we head up into Mason City. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more. But that's a quick overview of the route as we get into Mason City, and we'll end our tour there.
I think this is exciting. I want to just touch on, so people are all going together in their own cars?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Some people think this is all antique cars or something. No, it doesn't matter. We do have some people bringing in antique cars, and that we will have some that will join us for portions of the route. That's fine. The key thing for me is I'd like to be able to know you're coming and like you to register with us that morning, if nothing else. But we also need, if you could send us a email to info@jeffersonhighway.org. That would just tell us kind of what your intentions are. We'll send you information on lodging. Our 3 lodging partners have offered discounted rates, but obviously there are deadlines for that. So you can find a lot of this information on our website. We have a whole section on our front page about it. But if you have any questions, please send us an email and look for these informational Zoom calls. They'll give you more information. And one other quick thing, we just started last 2 weeks, and we've already got some orders. We started our online caravan store. If you go to our website, just click on the store link, and there are specific items that we are ordering that we want you to pre-order, including car magnets, caravan car flags. There are some the guidebooks. There's other fun stuff on there that people can take with them on the caravan that will kind of help us identify them. T-shirts are going to be on there. So,
you got to have the T-shirt.
So get on there, Lisa, and get yours to work. We'll get them. We'll ship you.
I need a new T-shirt. Listen, this is the thing. I always encourage people buy 2 T-shirts: one that you wear, one that you store for history.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
See, I'm just saying. And don't forget, Christmas in July is coming up. So just saying. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Nancy and I, we are both going to come through your towns this year. For sure. We're going to do that. Yvonne, thank you for joining us and for telling us a little bit about your money pit project over at I can't pronounce this, Osceola Hotel. So thank you for joining us, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
Is the best place on Facebook for people to follow your journey?
Yes, it is. We don't have a whole lot of activity on it right now, just because it starts out slow. Renovation starts out slow until you start getting more, more going into it. But we do keep posts on there.
And don't forget, they know about ice cream, and that's important when you're driving. Ice cream is very important.
Correct. So we have actually 3 Facebook sites for this project. We do have one that's called Hotel Osceola Project. That will be the project that's the actual main web Facebook site and Instagram that follows just all the progress of what's going on with the whole entire building. Then we're launching another Facebook site and Instagram for the actual ice cream shop. And then there'll be a third one for the restaurant. So we have a restaurant that will be opening up this fall.
Wow. Well, if you're going to do it, you go big or go home. I love this. I love it. I love what, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Yvonne. Ashley, again, over from the Osceola Chamber, Main Street at the OsceolaChamber.com is a website. Thank you so much, Ashley. One thing that everyone needs to experience when they come to your town.
Ooh.
I know it's hard because you're a chamber.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. No,
Yeah,
I'd say all the history and just all the shops we have downtown, the dining and shopping, exploring.
Shopping.
That's a thing.
Oh, you have murals. See?
Yes.
See, that's free. That's nice. We love murals because they really tell the history of a town.
They're fun.
And that's really cool.
We'll be putting a mural in our shop too, but even some of the other shops have murals inside, not just only outside.
Oh.
So you have to go in the shop to see those murals.
Yeah, don't be a window shopper.
Exactly.
Nope.
Be an indoor mural stopper and buyer. How about that? That's good. That's good. Jim, before you go, thank you for joining us, the historian, Jim Hamman. Jim, one thing people need to see, Jim, one thing people need to experience for history when they go to Iowa Falls.
They need to walk through, across the River Street Bridge and look up and down the Iowa River because the scenery is beautiful. It makes us the scenic city.
Ooh, very cool. Diana, tell us one thing people need to experience in Iowa Falls that we haven't touched on today.
I'm with Ashley. I said, when you're a Chamber Main Street, you can't mention any one thing. I say the shopping, the dining, the swinging bridge. We also have the Peter Toth Indian. That's the only Indian that Peter Toth did he did one for each state, and we have it here in Iowa Falls. So yeah.
What's that? Whoa. I got to back up. What's that about?
It's a big deal.
It's
yeah, well, I mean, because a lot of people may not know, so I want to back up.
He carved out of a tree. He took a tree that was from Iowa Falls, and he has it here, and he carved it. He's done one for every state. The ones in Florida, if you get on his site, there's other states that have beautiful carvings, but ours is nice. Ours is in Indian, so it's fine, and we're thankful for that. So.
Oh, very cool. Everyone, iowafallschamber.com is a website. Again, Jefferson Highway. Go to jeffersonhighway.org. We're here every fourth Thursday talking more about the Jefferson Highway. There's so much to explore. It's never ending. And we hope you go down the rabbit hole of the Jefferson Highway like we do. And now that we started following it, and you guys in Iowa do signs, it really makes a huge difference. And so communities on the highway, if you don't have your sign, you better call Roger. Just go to jeffersonhighway.org, because honestly, following it, and there's even like, oh, turn here. This is where the original route was. It's like this cool treasure hunt. I just hope you all go. And when we talk about road tripping over the summer, fall, this is spring. It's beautiful. Go do it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye.
Thank you.